YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with an interesting video for you guys today. Did this one last year, and we're bringing it back here. The fan bases that hate me the most. Really enjoyed making this last year, and everyone thought it was funny. It's just all fun and games here for this one. But this year, I got 3 fan bases that I think hate me the most. And what I base this on is the comments, the buildup of the comments. And I do think that is kind of the cool thing, the unique thing about covering the NFL through a platform like YouTube compared to people on TV or people in articles. I don't think they deal with either any or as much comments, like I do, for an example. So I think there's a build-up. You can start to learn how each fan base is different. I think that's a very cool thing, too. You would think that every fan base is, pretty much the same, they just like a different team, but that's not the case. I think every fan base, for the most part, is pretty unique, and maybe that's some reasons why, some of these made the list. But again, I got 3 teams that made the list this year. The rest of the teams, I don't feel got a problem with me, really, which is a good thing. I think there's each fan base probably has a couple fans that get at me, maybe a couple trolls, but that doesn't really count. I think the build-up, a collection of tons of fans, based on the comments. Everything here is just kind of based on the comments. I'm not really just coming up with stuff. It's just based on that. So, and then, something that does, nothing really gets to me too much. We can argue. You can tell me I'm wrong about something. You can even tell me I'm biased. I don't really take that serious at all. That doesn't really get me in the comments, but something that does get me a little bit, get me going, is when people say, you hate this team. You hate this team so much, because it's just completely wrong. I love football. I like every single team. I am a diehard Vikings fan. I don't hate the Packers. I don't hate the Bears. I don't hate the Lions. In fact, those 3 fan bases didn't even make this list, which is I think, a good thing, knowing that I'm a Vikings fan. So that the divisional teams, the Vikings created a rivalry with the Saints. I don't hate the Saints. We get our ass beat on prime time against the Seahawks every year. I don't hate the Seahawks. I appreciate good football. I like every team. I get excited for teams when they get better. So I can assure you, I promise you, I do not hate your team. I don't hate any player. I don't hate any team. So, but some of all these 3 fan bases that made the list are those people in the comments saying you hate this team, are really getting on me. But we can handle the comments. It's all fun and games here. So hopefully we can just laugh about this. But subscriber goal, 60K early in the season. Please help us get there. We have full coverage, all kinds of predictions, score predictions, power rankings, all that and more, updated every single week. So you're going to want to subscribe, turn notifications on so you don't miss a thing. We got you covered. Twitter, full coverage for the channel and for the NFL. Live tweeting during games. Can't wait for it to start here. Coming up tomorrow, actually. Thursday Night Football. We'll be live tweeting throughout the Sunday games every single week. Instagram, podcast, Patreon. Patreon has extra bonus content, and then along with extra score predictions as well that come later in the week. So check that out. Link in the description in the comments for anything that you may need here. Let's go over the 3 fan bases that I think hate me the most, and this is purely based off the comments that are kind of building up lately, but over the past as well. And we can talk about how each fan base is kind of unique in their own way, just based on the comments. Everything's based on the comments here. The Jets are going to come in at number 3, and I think it's here's one that actually, okay, let's just say every person that covers the NFL, they did the same video that I'm doing. I don't know if anybody does this, but let's just say they did. I think the Jets would probably I'm guessing the Jets, just based on the way they act and what's going on, I feel like the Jets would make the list for everybody, because the Jets fans, they tell me that I hate their team. I don't hate anybody. I don't hate your team. They tell me I hate your team. I hate their team. And that they basically act like I'm the only one that thinks they're bad. Everyone else thinks they're really good. I'm the only one that thinks they're bad. But I think a lot of people are pretty much in the ballpark. And let me get this out of the way. The Jets, they can be good. I'm not saying for sure they're going to struggle. Darnold could take that next step. They got some young talent. They improved the offensive line. Gase's second year. Quinn Williams can be an absolute stud. Some of the defense guys can step up. So they can be a sneaky team. So don't get me wrong there. Basically, when it's all said and done, some teams I got to like in terms of how good they're going to be, and some teams I got to, somebody's got to be towards the bottom. And they're not the very bottom, but some teams got to be down there. That's just the way it is. I'm not going to say only positives. I'm not going to avoid ranking teams because I might hurt somebody's feeling. Maybe Good Morning Football. You can watch that if you're looking for that. I think every day they're on a new team. They make a good show over there, but you get my point. I'm gonna give it to you how it is, what I think. Positives, negatives. There'll be both for every team. But yeah, the Jets fans, it just seems like they make it seem like I'm the crazy one. I'm the only one on the planet. They made the list last year for the same reasons. If you remember, if you watch that one, if you go back, they were kind of leaning towards they were making the playoffs last year, and I was crazy for not having them in there, and I thought that was kind of odd. And this year, I don't know if they're about playoffs, but pretty close. And yeah, they're kind of just, it's an interesting fan base. They kind of act like, and I'm assuming they do this to everybody that thinks, most people who do actually have them on the lower side. They act like, you're the only crazy guy out there. So they come at me. I've had people on Twitter in the comments tell me I hate the Jets. I guess because I'm lower on them. I think they just think they should be in the top half. I'd say not so fast right now, but you never know. They could just improve just like that. Wouldn't shock me completely. So yeah, they make it at number 3 on the list. The New York Jets. Jets fans, I appreciate everybody. I appreciate you if you watch my videos even for a second. I appreciate you very much. It's all fun and games here. And I promise you I don't hate your team there. I'm just here to predict stuff. Number 2 is going to be the San Francisco 49ers, and I talked about every fan base is different. Surprisingly, you would think every fan base kind of act the same, say the same things. They just for their team. They just like different teams, but that's not the case. This is a prime example. 49ers fans are one of a kind. They are unique. It's a weird bunch. I love you guys for being here, watching my videos, and there's a good amount of them that watch, so I appreciate you very much. It's for the most part, not everybody maybe. It's kind of a weird bunch. I got to be honest here. And you guys could probably laugh this off too and maybe agree. And why I say that is because, this is what I'm gathering here. I think the Niners fans are so used to their team being doubted, and I think they love it. I think they absolutely love it because every comment is either I hate them or a mixture of that. And once again, you're doubting their team. You're doubting us. I'm assuming they do this to everybody. And it's even crazier because basically you're doubting them when you're not actually doubting them. Basically, they make you feel like you're wrong when whether you picked them or you didn't pick them, whether they won or you lost. You doubted them, you're wrong. Period. That's it. You can have them number 1 in a category, number 2. They're number 2 here. But that's what I gathered. That's the only fan base like that over the last several years. When they were struggling, they were telling me I'm doubting them. They're gonna be wrong. When they were good, I'm doubting them wrong. Last year, if you remember, I kind of caught on to the Niners early. I was picking them in those big games early, and they kept going along. You're doubting them. I'm picking them, but I'm picking them all year. You keep going with it. The big games down the stretch: Seahawks, Saints. Then you get into the playoffs, picking them through the playoffs. You get to the Super Bowl. I picked the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I picked the Chiefs. I was riding the Chiefs since preseason last year. I was riding them then. I picked the Chiefs. So the comments came back. Not really came back. They were always there. You're doubting us again. You doubted us all year. You picked against us all year, which was completely false. But it's not like there was just 1 or 2 or 10. There is so many of them saying the same thing that is completely wrong. That I'm doubting them all year, that I was picked against them every step of the way, and I'm going to be wrong again, which hate to mention it. I was right to pick the Chiefs, but I was wrong. But I was wrong either way. That's just kind of what it is. You got to respect, somebody that, I guess the confidence and everything. Got to respect it. Again, I respect anybody that watched the videos, and then ranking videos throughout this year. Whether I'm definitely put them top tier in a lot of whatever it's units, players. Defensive, things. I like their offense as well, but put them at the top. And if they're not number 1, you're wrong. You doubted them. You're going to be wrong again, is what they say. And it's a big collection of people that talk like this. So it's a unique Niners fan. It's a unique fan base here, and it's cool to see that everyone's different there for sure. But yeah, this is me guessing why this is. Why is it so weird? Why is it a weird bunch here? I think they are kind of used to the build-up for so long of being doubted, and I think they really like it. And you will doubt them. I think that's kind of what they're saying. You will doubt them whether you like it or not. I think that's kind of what it is. But you got to respect it. You got to respect it for sure. To show you that I don't hate, I guess doesn't mean a whole bunch, but I wouldn't have this helmet if I hated the Niners. Again, I don't hate any team. We got a Jerry Rice signed mini helmet here. I can't lean it the right way. To Leon, signed by Jerry Rice. Leon Sphinx. Don't ask me how I got that. But yeah, I got that sitting around here in the studio. And if I really hated the Niners, I wouldn't have that. And again, I assure everyone I don't hate any team. I love football. I appreciate good football. Don't hate anybody. I promise. I don't hate anybody. I'm just trying to cover the NFL here as the best I can. So the Niners coming in at number 2. It's a unique group there. Love you guys. So number 1 on the fan bases that hate me the most, listen, the NFL, we got the Indianapolis Colts. I think a no-brainer. And this really started, I think, after the video I did last year, like right after until now. It's a build-up between that span, and that would kind of makes it a no-brainer for them to be number 1 there. And when that was, what it was when Andrew Luck retired. I was kind of high on the Colts then, not super, super high, but I was kind of high. No problems really with Colts fans. I did notice some interesting things in the comments that they're very confident. This is a very, very confident, at the top of confident groups. You got to respect it. Kind of thinking they should be top tier in all these categories. So that would come up here and there, but not enough to put them to number 1 on this list then. But okay, so then we fast forward a little bit. Andrew Luck goes down. So then I come down on the Colts, like pretty much everybody, maybe minus Colts fans out there, some Colts fans. So I came down on them with Jacoby Brissett coming in. It didn't have them in the playoffs. It had them winning, I think, about around 8 games, which did a pretty good job. And I thought, but soon as I dropped them down, a load of Colts fans, not all of them, but a load of Colts fans came in and basically tried to, I hate the Colts, try to make me kind of call me an idiot a little bit. People probably use that word, but it's all right. I can handle it. We're all good. But the hate part, I don't hate the Colts. That rubs me the wrong way when people say I hate the teams, but it was almost like it was mind-blowing to them, absolutely mind-blowing that I dropped them down a bit for Luck to Jacoby Brissett. And I didn't hate Jacoby Brissett. I thought he was pretty solid. I wasn't saying he's terrible. And so it was just crazy to them that I would do that. I must hate the Colts. How could I drop them down? You're switching this because of a one player change. Like that's what it was in the comments, a load of them. And that confused me a bit because I think pretty much everybody came down on them, but because the Colts fans would go to their grave, I think, saying that Andrew Luck was elite, was a top tier, maybe the best quarterback in football, which he was great. Unfortunately he had to retire, but it's the same team with Jacoby Brissett. I think a lot of contradicting themselves there. So that's where it kind of started, where they came at me for that, and it was mind-blowing to them that I came down on them. So that's kind of where it started, and I think that's where it began. Then the build-up started, and then we kind of fast forward to the draft, this past draft. And if you most of you probably already know, I do all kinds of draft. I think the channel started with draft coverage. That's my favorite day of the year. That's Christmas, the NFL draft, and I love when the NFL season starts as well, just as much. But we'll say it starts with the draft. I think teams can build championships through the draft. That's why I like it so much. But anyways, all kinds of content, rankings, everything. You get all my player evaluations, everything, and I even release a spreadsheet to everybody with all my rankings. I can't even count how many players are on there, what the grade is for those players. So in a way, everything is set before the draft. All these players, my thoughts on the players are set before the draft. And obviously what team they go to, it can matter on fits, I suppose. But then we grade the draft after the draft, and I wasn't super high on the Colts draft. I didn't hate it. They got a lot of good young players, but I wasn't super high on it, and the Colts fans just gave it to me. They had the best draft or a top 5 draft. You're wrong. You absolutely hate the Colts. And another thing is, I've seen a lot of Colts fans then. I don't see a lot of those guys now, so I think they actually left because they decided that I hate the Colts, so why would they watch the channel? I mean, I don't hate the Colts, but if you feel that way, okay. But this is the kicker. This is kind of what gets to me, is that why I explained it. All my rankings and grades are done pre-draft, and they were kind of acting like I changed all that because they went to the Colts. Those guys that I thought were good are now bad, and that kind of got to me a little bit. Like, everything's already set, so they were basically accusing me of just hating the Colts. I changed everything. Though I got really good players, they're only bad because they're on the Colts, which isn't a case. And I never said anybody was bad anyways. It's a solid draft. I just didn't think it was excellent, great. The Colts fans just thought for some reason it was the best, which I don't know if anybody else on the planet really had them top tier. So that was interesting for sure. I think, that kind of went into this. I think we lost some Colts fans with that because they just thought, I must hate the Colts for some reason, even though everything's already done beforehand. I can't go and change it. Why would I change it? I want to be right on the player evaluations. And then continuing on, the rankings in the offseason, the rankings, player rankings, unit rankings, offense, defense. We do a million different types of rankings. And I think it was stuck in their head about the Brissett thing. And mainly the draft thing is that the you hate the Colts just kept on coming on here throughout this portion. And, Buckner, I like Buckner a lot. He's top tier, but people came at me a lot, I think on Twitter and in the comments, that Buckner's not 1 or 2 for defensive line rankings. Even though I had him top tier, it was a no question. He's 1 or 2. You hate the Colts. Did they think he was 1 or 2 before he came to the Colts? Everyone knew he was great, but did he? I don't know. And then even with, I had Darius Leonard number 1 line. I love Darius Leonard, number 1 linebacker. I didn't, I got ripped for not having the number 1 linebacker units, which was questionable there. I got ripping for Doyle and Burton not being higher or pretty high top tier tight end duo. I don't like Burton, so I got ripped for that. It's crazy the amount that's coming in now. And I think it was a buildup from the past, maybe some past things like I explained. So it feels like and this is just based on the comments, this is what gets put in the comments. And I'm kind of saying it back. Most season, I appreciate anybody who watches. He keeps coming back. Appreciate you very much. This is kind of just all for fun here. But from the comments, it feels like they expect anything Colts related needs to be 1, top tier ranked or else. That's kind of what it feels like. Again, Phillip Rivers, were they that high on Phillip Rivers before? Not, when they're on the Chargers, I'm sure they gave him some ripping then. Now, super high. And again, it's not all the fans there, but it feels like, Buckner, again, did they have him 1 or 2, with Aaron Donald then? Now they do. And they're acting like I'm crazy, so I don't know. Did they have that before? It's like when I brought up this graphic, the Colts graphic, I said this is probably the most confident bunch or, really into their team. They're really bleeding that blue, I think. A little too much. Because every time they get a player, every player they have is really the best. I think, and that's okay. There's really nothing wrong with that. But I think that goes into it. In their mind, they expect them to be top ranked no matter what, no matter who their quarterback is. Example last year, no matter what. And I think that I'm trying to figure out where it's coming from, where the comments are coming from, why they think I hate the team. I think that's what it is. I think if they just got a player, they're going to be a little higher on them because he's on the Colts. That's kind of what I'm gathering from the comments. I'm pretty confident about that based on the comments. If they were to get somebody that they think is bad now, they may think they're good when they get them, and then they expect that unit or part of the team to be ranked high, and they kind of come at me about it. But I can assure you, I don't hate the Colts. I should have worn my Peyton Manning jersey. What I should have done, I had one. I have one somewhere. I don't know. It's probably tiny. I probably couldn't find it anyways, but. Yeah, I can assure you I don't hate the Colts. It's just predictions, and I bumped them up into the playoffs now, even though my last predictions don't say that. Unfortunate injury with the team, bumped the Colts up to the 7 seed for me. So, I got them in the playoffs now. So we'll see that. But they're gonna have to go through an adjustment. It could be a sneaky good team, but I don't think they're as complete of a roster as people say, and I think people get on me for that. But I think they're kind of lacking in some spots, but they're very, very strong in some spots. I think that running game's gonna be very dominant. I think that's gonna open up the passing game for Phillip Rivers. Again, Darius Leonard's a maniac. He is the maniac. They added Buckner. That's fantastic. I'm excited to see, Vikings fan. I'm excited to see Rhodes on a different team. We'll see what he can do there. Some key pieces got to stay healthy in the secondary, but yeah, they can be a sneaky good team here, a surprise team. The NFC South, or the AFC South, excuse me. I do have the Titans as the favorites. I like that roster a lot, but the Texans could win, the Colts can win. Those 3 teams can compete. They can win that division for sure. It's going to be a battle, like it always is. It's going to be fun. So yeah, I don't hate the Colts. I'm excited to watch them this year. But yeah, the comment build up since that Andrew Luck retirement, that's where it started. To now put them up at number 1 on this list. So we can joke about it in the comments. It's all fun and games here. Again, anybody that watches a second or is here right now, I appreciate you very much. I know everyone appreciates the content. Just about the channel, I'm gonna give it to you straight. I'm not gonna just say only good things about teams. I wouldn't be able to sleep doing that thing. I think people do that. But I think I'm just going to give it what I think. That's what I'm going to give to you. So hopefully everyone can respect that. Definitely respect all the fans out there, that watch for sure. And I think it's pretty cool that each fan base is, and this is what I've gathered from the comments throughout the years, that they're all unique. They're all different, and they're all different in different ways. So I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, fun little video here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. But we're going to go back to our normal content, normal upload schedule here now that we're in the NFL season. We got weekly picks, score predictions, power rankings, always adding more. We have the podcast, extra content on the Patreon. You're going to want to follow that Twitter. There's daily constant content on that Twitter, live tweeting during games. You'll kind of get a preview of the recap videos every Monday on the Twitter because I'm going to tweet my thoughts live, of course. So you're going to want to follow that. Smash that like button if you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Turn notifications on so you don't miss a thing during the NFL season. That's going to do it for this one, though. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.